than 7,000 islands and with more than 100 ethno-linguistic groups, the Philippines has one of the richest and most diverse musical roots in Asia. Sadly, though, with the onslaught of modern technology, this rich heritage is fast becoming extinct. Hello, I'm Christine Nong. On this week's Yours Truly Asia, join me as I discover the cultural diversity of the Philippines through the variety of indigenous musical instruments found across the country. In a tiny courtyard under the shade of banana trees, these young Filipinos are making music that's deeply stirring. It's a typical weekend jam session for the group of professionals, but instead of the usual electric guitars and drums, the band members are playing indigenous musical instruments.
Here in the Philippines, most of the instruments are bamboo instruments because all across the country, from north to south, east to west, bamboo is predominant in the predominant plant in the fields, in the mountains. So most of the instruments are made of bamboo. So that explains why majority of the instruments are made of bamboo. And the metal instruments are major instruments, basically, and especially the gongs. These are the prestige instruments in all the tribes, different tribes from north to south. So the bamboo instruments, we have a lot of types of bamboo instruments, and most of them are percussive in nature. This instrument, this is called a bamboo buzzer. It's used in the Cordilleras. First, in farming, they use this as noisemakers to shoo away birds, pests in the fields, rice fields. So they use these instruments to take care of the rice fields. But they also use this in their rituals to drive away bad spirits. So every time they do a ritual to cleanse a sacred space of negative energy.
Since ancient times, music has permeated all aspects of life in the Philippines. Significant moments like birth, marriage, and death, as well as everyday activities.
This bamboo instrument, called the gabang, which is a bamboo xylophone, is usually used by the Yakans during the olden times, during way before, to when kids take care of the fields. They have this in the fields, and they use this as noisemakers to ward away pests. So while they're out in the fields taking care of the fields, so it's a creative way for them to take care of the fields. So they play certain tunes while taking care of the fields against pests.
In the pre-Hispanic times, the nose flute, with its soft and soothing tones, served a dual purpose, enhancing courtship and boosting the harvest.
So the nose flute is basically used in courtship rituals. So when a man goes courting a woman that he likes, he serenades that woman with the music of the nose flute. And one thing, whenever there's a picture of a person in front of the rice terraces, they usually depict that tribe's person holding a nose flute, playing in front of the rice fields. The belief there is that the rice would grow better, would be more bountiful if the person plays very good music coming from the nose flute.
So it looks like somehow the indigenous instruments that we have, they're all related to farming, to the, when they're out in the field.
Yes, most of the rituals also are related to those practices, farming. Before they plant, when they plant, and then when they harvest, they have all these instruments. They play all these instruments to celebrate and then to thank the divine for having such a good harvest, for example. Or if before planting season, it's a prayer of sorts
Apart from the functional role of indigenous music, the instruments crafted by ancient Filipinos also serve as a record of their aesthetic and spiritual development. The designs on these traditional drums are like a window to the people's artistry, beliefs, and superstitions.
These drums are from the Ifugao, from the north, the Ifugao tribe, and they have their Ifugao term, which is libit. Among the Ifugao tribe, the pig is sacred. They converse with the pig and ask permission and sort of honor the pig because it is being sacrificed. In the north, the lizard is a symbol of luck. Okay, so why is it so? Because they observe that the lizard, if it is being attacked by a predator, way out is it cuts its own tail. It is a very resourceful or very smart animal, smart survival instinct of the lizard. That's why it's also a symbol of luck among the Ifugaos. They not only have carved designs of lizard, they actually have the actual lizard on the drum. So they would paste the preserved lizard on the drum itself.
Olan proudly shows me a two-string guitar called the hegalung from the Tiboli tribe in the southern Philippines.
Each hegalung is designed differently every time they make it, and it has also symbols and stories which tell about the designs. And a unique characteristic of the heglung is that it's only two-stringed, unlike the normal Western guitar, and yet it plays same beautiful melody and music. One string is just acts like a drone, so it gives the tempo, and then the other string is the one with the frets. The frets are usually movable. They're just stuck by using beeswax, so that when they want to play another song, they adjust it.
These instruments have an interesting name. They're known as fertility bells.
From the shape.
Now, whatever your own interpretation is of how this looks like, one thing's for sure though, Tiboli women from the southern Philippines wear this to attract fertility. Now, the Tiboli men, not to be outdone, also carry these fertility bells to attract a fertile and an abundant harvest. Now, this is recognizing and giving high respect to women as the source of life and nourishment in the tribe.
This is probably the smallest and one of the most unique and also expressive of the Filipino indigenous instruments. Also, personally, this is the first instrument that I found, and that gave me the idea that there's such a thing as an indigenous music and indigenous instruments. Before, all I knew was the guitars, the drum set, and all the Western instruments. Then I saw it. It's very interesting. How come nobody knows about it? That's when I gained interest in indigenous music and I started collecting. So I'll first show this one. Is the most widely popularized because it's simple, and then it has enough carvings, but also simple, and it also expresses already the art. This is from the Tiboli tribe of Mindanao in Cotabato. They're an indigenous people. and they call it kubing or kumbing. So they have different carvings. Usually the Tibolis carve traditionally each kubing different from the other. So each kubing is unique, always unique. Sometimes it's based on their dreams, or other times the stories, their feelings. So the geometric shapes are particularly associated with the Tiboli designs. These are rice fields, and then there's mountain. So these are rice stalks.
The kubing was traditionally played as an intimate form of communication between family members or lovers. And in some tribes, the music of the kubing is believed to create
is that when a person is sick, there's imbalance, or one way of interpreting it is their soul or part of their soul walks away, or some another spiritual being takes part of their soul. So for the healers, there's a kubing to sort of attract the soul of that person, or that part of the soul, to come back to the person so that they'll be healed.
Fans of indigenous Filipino music like Olan share one dream, not just to preserve age-old musical traditions, but also to popularize ancient instruments and tunes.
People want to have different models of cell phones. We'd like to see Filipinos also having interest in having as many models or versions of kubing, just like this one.
This is Channel News Asia Weekend.
This is not your ordinary music class. It's a free workshop to introduce the indigenous musical instruments of the Philippines. And the students are a group of low-income women living in San Andres, Manila. The 3-hour session is conducted by Sanghabi, a band that plays indigenous music, hence its name, which means one weave. Band members hope that by weaving their time and talent with these women, they will be able to weave more Filipinos into their love for indigenous culture. Participants learn the origins of the indigenous instruments, and they're given a chance to make music, despite their lack of formal training. Following the conductor closely, the women rise to the occasion, an amateur orchestra whose members perform as one. 50-year-old Rosario Mendoza says the experience taught her to believe in herself.
Kami po taga-release po, kahit papaano naman po na manalita kung tawagin po, ay napapansin din po kami nila na kahit ang mga taga-release ng mga squatter, meron din palang talino na may ipagkakaloob o ipapakita sa mga mamayan na tulad po namin na wala pong iba po, minsan po maralitangat kung tawagin. Kahit papaano po napansin din po kami, natuunan po ng pansin ang aming konting talino po. Basta sama-sama po, nakatuon po ang mata nyo, ang isip at saka damdamin po na parang pakiramdam nyo po sa sarili nyo po na marami po kayo, na hindi lang po kayo nag-iisa, na marami po kayo.
43-year-old Rowena Dayo describes the workshop as the best thing that ever happened to her. She says learning to play the indigenous instruments has given her courage to face life's challenges.
Kung kaya kong tumugtog, kaya ko rin kalimutan ng mga problema ko sa buhay. Kaya ko rin lumaban sa lahat ng pagsubok na binibigay ng Panginoon.
The younger women also see the benefits of learning and performing the country's traditional music.
Tuklasin natin kung ano ba yung meron sa atin na dapat nating ipagmalaki sa mga dayuhan, sa mga taong nakatira sa iba't ibang bansa. At halimbawa, kung pumunta man sila dito, at least alam natin kung ano ba yon. Kasi may ibang may ibang mga ano na mas alam pa nila ng dayuhan kaysa sa atin. Kaya kailangan tayo mismo pag-aralan natin kung ano ba yun.
Yung sariling atin.
Oo, yung sariling atin. Mas sinatangkilik natin yung produkto nila kaysa sa atin. Kaya minsan yung pag-unlad, mabagal. Kasi mas gusto pa natin yung sa kanila kaysa mas maganda naman yung sa atin kumpara dun. Kumbaga mas may kalidad yung gawa natin, gawa ng mga Pilipino.
The participants' enthusiasm more than fulfilled the hopes of the organizers. Besides workshops for women, they also conduct sessions for low-income children.
When we ask the children, when we do workshop, name 5 instruments that you know of, their immediate answers are guitar, violin, drums, or flute, and they're not aware of the indigenous instruments. So our minimum goal is that every Filipino would at least know the name of one indigenous instrument, and we are happy already with that minimum goal. So, and we believe that it contributes to, it is our own way of contributing to the development of our country. For a country to heal, it must know its true self, its true identity. We really deeply put significance in the group, and it's not just for the sake of culture or for fun. Of course, it's there because it's part of our commitment and passion.
The young professionals who form Sanghabi believe that Filipinos need a full awareness of the past and a deeper appreciation of the nation's musical legacy in order to move ahead with confidence.
Hopefully, by connecting with our instruments, connecting with our ancient script, we can start recollecting a memory, the memory of who we are as Filipinos. Because somehow when we dropped all of this, maybe our full potential to become Filipinos never really matured, you know. So we really have to go back to our ancient script, go back to appreciating our instruments, our music, so that that collective memory will become alive, and then we can see and feel what our destiny is as a people, you know, and share this to the world.
For band member and environmentalist Melissa Cadenas, the group's performances are a tangible way of reaching out to fellow Filipinos to instill a love of indigenous music in more people.
It's a question of, do you try to preserve it? Do you try to conserve it? Do you have to adapt to change? I've seen elders from the tribes bewail why the young ones don't know their dances anymore. And it's really touching to see an old man crying while dancing because he wants to teach it to them that it's a beautiful dance. It is not something to be ashamed of, and it's part of who they are. So things like these, our encounters with them, help me in trying to be more active and pursue what we do.
Through their workshops, the band hopes to challenge people from different backgrounds to live and play music together as harmoniously as the early Filipinos did.
We impart what are the basic values that we have, because it might look fun, but it's still Filipino values are involved in how we play together in playing these instruments. You have to know how to listen to the person beside you. You have to know how to feel the sound to be able to play as a community. So really the challenge is, how do you make big communities play together in unison, in one beat. And that's one of the things that we want to see, communities of people playing together as one. Because from there, if we can play together as one, then most probably we can work together as one.
music of the Philippines has been described as a unique blend of Eastern and Western musical traditions. Filipinos, with their innate musicality, have transformed mainstream music into unique local variations. Indigenous music is a reflection of the people's hopes and longings, past, present, and future. It is a celebration of the rich and diverse culture in this country. I'm Christine Ong. I hope you've enjoyed this musical journey on yours truly, Asia.